base and salt. Yes, you have heard this word from class 7. What is acid, what is base and what is salt. According to the chemical properties, we can classify the compounds into acid, base and salt. It's very important because in our regular processes like digestion, in our life processes like digestion, in secretion of different type of enzymes, this acidity and basicity matters a lot. So let's just make a recap of what we know about acid and base. We know in acid it will be sour in taste. Also acid will convert blue litmus paper into red, and acid are the substances by doing ionization of it or by adding water into it, it gives us H plus. So that these things we know about acid. What we know about base? So we know that base is bitter in taste. It will convert our red litmus paper into blue, and by doing ionization of it, it will release OH minus ion. So it's very necessary to have H plus ion and OH minus ion according to the scientist named Arrhenius, and he gave the rule that when we are adding water in any of compound, if H plus releases, that is acid, and if OH minus releases, that is considered as base. Now let's have a detailed study of acid, base and then chemical properties. So yes, we will start our study from acid. We know that in our daily life there are many compounds which we have the another name, and their scientific name it will be different, and by knowing that names we will use to know that how our surrounding is connected with acid and base. Here there is a list in front of you that vinegar which we are using, which acid it is. It is our acetic acid. Orange or lemon, it is citric acid. Tamarind, it contains tartaric acid. Tomato, it is oxalic acid, and curd, it is lactic acid, which is formed by lactase bacteria. Right? So this way, in our regular life, in our daily life, there are many different substances which are acidic in nature. Okay, let's understand the chemical properties of acid. Generally, we know that HCl, HNO3, H2SO4, CH3COOH. These are the acids. HCl, hydrochloric acid, HNO3, nitric acid, H2SO4, sulfuric acid, and CH3COOH, that is our acetic acid. For chemical properties of acid, we can react our acid with metal. Then the acid's reaction with metals, oxides. Then acid's reaction with metal carbonate. Again, acid's reaction with metal carbonate and metal hydrogen carbonate or metal bicarbonate. Then acid, its reaction with base. Now what we can say, these four chemical properties we have to check in detail. Here I will first explain you the common reaction. When any of acid, it reacts with metal, it gives us salt and hydrogen gas or dihydrogen. When metal when acid reacts with any metals oxide, it will always give us salt and water. When acid reacts with metal carbonate or metal hydrogen carbonate or metal bicarbonate, it will give us salt plus carbon dioxide plus water. And when acid reacts with base, it will give us salt plus water. Okay, what common you can see here in these four reactions? Yes, you are right. If we take this second reaction and this fourth normal reaction, at the reactant side you are seeing acid, acid. At product side salt, salt, water, water. But here you can see that here we have taken base and here we have taken metals oxide. That means, remember, metals oxides are base and non-metals oxides are acid in nature. So this is just the common reactions of it. Now we will discuss each and every reaction in detail. Okay. As I said, suppose I am taking H2SO4 and if I am reacting it with metal zinc, what we will get? Generally we know that it will give us, and here we will get H plus of 2. So Zn, we have studied this in standard 9. So it will react with the negative. We will get ZnSO4 plus hydrogen gas will be released. You can perform a activity also, solid, aqueous in form of gas. How we can perform? So we have studied this in chapter number 1, that if in a test tube or in a beaker you take zinc and you add H2SO4, that is our sulfuric acid. So the aqueous solution which we will get, that will be ZnSO4, and the gas which is released during it, that will be hydrogen. If we take another acid, HCl, so when it reacts with zinc, what it will give us? It will give us ZnCl2, which is aqueous, plus hydrogen as a gas. So this way, when any of acid it reacts with metal, it will give us salt and dihydrogen gas. The another chemical reaction, what it was? Yes, that was acid plus metals oxide, which will give us salt and water. So let's check the second chemical property of acid. Okay, the second chemical characteristics, that was acid plus metal oxide, it gives us salt and water. Let's check that with one example, HCl in aqueous form. Metal oxide, here I am taking copper oxide as metal. So when copper oxide, that is metal oxide, it will react with HCl, what it will give us? We know that Cu 2 plus and O 2 minus. So here copper, it will react with chlorine, which give us CuCl2 plus H2. Here you can also write it in form of liquid, right? So when acid reacts with metals oxide, it will give us salt and water. If we take the another example, H2SO4, which is aqueous, reaction with metals oxide. So I am taking magnesium oxide as a metal. What we will get? Here by splitting we will get MgSO4 plus H2. So this way, when any of acid it reacts with metals oxide, it will always give us salt and water. So this is our second chemical property of acid, in which acid reacts with metal oxide to give salt and water. Our third chemical property of acid is when acid it reacts with metals carbonate or it reacts with metal hydrogen carbonate, or it is also called metal bicarbonate. As a result, we will get salt plus water plus carbon dioxide gas. Now, let's see how this reaction is done. Suppose if we take an acid HCl and it is reacted with metal carbonate. So I am taking here calcium carbonate. So that will be carbonate of calcium metal. So CaCO3. When HCl in aqueous form, it reacts with calcium carbonate, which is in solid form, it will give us salt. Now here also we know what will happen. I am not writing it in detail, but we know in standard 9 we have studied that calcium plus 2, CO3 2 minus, Cl minus 1, H plus 1. So this calcium will react with the chloride ion, we will get CaCl2 plus we will get H2CO3. But this H2CO3 is also written as H2O plus CO2. So here we will get HCl plus CaCO3, means acid plus metal carbonate or bicarbonate. It will give us salt and water and carbon dioxide gas. So this will be our aqueous one. Right? Now, acid it reacts with metal carbonate or bicarbonate to give salt, carbon dioxide and water. So here metal carbonate or if we use metal bicarbonate, we will get the same product, salt, water and carbon dioxide. Now during this reaction, the carbon dioxide which is produced, how we can check it? So test of carbon dioxide. How we can check? Suppose we have aqueous solution of calcium hydroxide. So this is our calcium hydroxide. If carbon dioxide is released, so we can take the carbon dioxide gas, and if it passes from calcium hydroxide, it will give us CaCO3, calcium carbonate plus H2O. So this way, when CaOH twice calcium hydroxide and the gas, if it is carbon dioxide, so it will give us calcium carbonate, which will be white PPT, and water will be reduced, solid form and in liquid form or in aqueous form. Now this calcium carbonate, if it get accessed with more water and more carbon dioxide, so what will happen? It will give us CaHCO3 twice. That is calcium bicarbonate, and this calcium bicarbonate will be soluble in water. So this way, this is our third chemical property of acid. When acid reacts with metal carbonate or metal hydrogen carbonate or bicarbonate, it gives us salt, water and carbon dioxide. But during this reaction, the carbon dioxide which is produced, for testing of carbon dioxide, we can pass that gas from calcium hydroxide, and if it gives us calcium carbonate of white color, so that is the result, that the gas which is evolved, that will be carbon dioxide. If this calcium carbonate, it reacts with more excess of water and carbon dioxide, it will give us calcium bicarbonate that will be soluble in water. Now let's discuss about the fourth chemical property of acid. In that, acid plus base, it gives us salt and water. Now let's check. We know the different names of base. Here we have written different acids like HCl, HNO3, H2SO4 or CH3COOH, and different bases NaOH, KOH, right, CaOH twice or MgOH twice, which is also known as milk of magnesium. Now let's take any of acids. Suppose if I take HCl plus if I take a base NaOH. So what will happen? Both are the aqueous solution. We know that this is positive one, so it will move to chlorine, and the OH, it will react with the hydrogen. So here we will get NaCl plus H2O in liquid form, in aqueous form. Yes, you are very clever. This reactions we have done in standard 9 also. Another example, H2SO4 as acid, and as a base, if I taking KOH, so simple 2H plus SO4 2 minus. This negative will react with the positive to give K2SO4 aqueous plus H2 as a liquid. You can react and you can make a lot of equations from it. Here we can also take NH4OH, ammonium hydroxide as base. So you can react NaOH with HCl, NaOH with HNO3 with this, right? So this way you can prepare many of examples of acid. When it reacts with base, it will give us salt and water. See, this reaction, it will be helpful to you, because if the chemical characteristics of base is there, so also it will be common, because acid reacts with base or base reacts with acid. It gives us salt and water. So actually when acid and base, they react with each other, so they will nullify their effect. So this type of reaction is also known as neutralization reaction, right? So that we will discuss further, but just for your knowledge, I am writing here that it is also called neutralization reaction. So this way, in today's session, we have understood the normal concept of acid and base, and we have also understood the chemical properties of acid. In that, we have discussed that acid reaction with metal gives salt and dihydrogen gas. In second, we understood that acid reacts with metal oxide, which gives us salt and water. In third, we understood that acid reacts with metal carbonate or metal bicarbonate to give salt, carbon dioxide and water, and we have also done the test of carbon dioxide. And at last, fourth, we have understood acid reacts with base to give salt and water, and from this we can also have a conclusion that metals, oxides are basic in nature. So in today's session, we are going to complete it. What is chemical properties of acid? In next session, you will understand the detailed study on chemical properties of base and different types of indicators. So in your worksheets and by your assignments, you are able to churn out the topic, you are able to understand the topic, so it will be provided to you. So complete it well and prepare a perfect notes. Thank you.